This is the first trade I took this week. It was clean, it was obvious, and it came straight from the structure. Let me show you exactly why, so you can start seeing it too. It's doable, believe me, it's absolutely doable. If I can, you can do it too. Now, without any further blah blah blah, I hate those myself, I'm going to explain you the logic behind the trade. So, let's begin. I always start my analysis, top-down analysis, from the weekly time frame. And all in all, I analyze four main time frames: the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, the hourly time frame, and the 15-minute time frame. I analyze the auction structure, the market structure, and by the way, I'm trading S&P 500. I'm trading micro contracts. All right, let's start from the weekly time frame. What we see here is an influencer fix. What is a fix? A fix happens when participants of the market decide to close their positions partially or entirely. All right? And this is the first segment of the balance. The fix is the first step of the balance. The second step of the balance of the first segment of the balance is an inertial trade. What is an inertial trade? An inertial trade is a trade that is taken in the same direction of the previous impulse. Usually call it an imbalance phase. Okay. So this is potentially a first segment of the balance. All right. Why potentially? Because we can confirm this is a true balance only after one of the responsive activities is fully formed. All right. And now we have two potential scenarios here. The first scenario, a negative one. The auction can move the price till this level, 47.35. And in this case, we assume that the auction can build up a bias responsive activity, or the auction can move the price higher than the initial fixed level. In this case, it could build up a sales responsive activity. And only when the sales responsive activity is formed can we confirm this is a balance. And this is it for the weekly auction. Let's move on to the daily chart. Here we have a balance. It's already formed, it's confirmed by a responsive activity, but let's start from the very beginning. Here we have a preceding impulse. Balance can be called a balance if there is no impulse before. All right? Remember this. Here we have a first segment of the balance, a fix, then we see an inertial trade, and then a complex responsive activity, which is the second segment of the balance. And here we also have two scenarios. The first scenario of this auction is this. The auction can move the price till this level and build up a bias responsive activity. Or, which is more logical in the current situation, it can bring the price up to this level and form a third segment. In this case, this will be an initial fix reinforcement, and then move the price lower the bottom border of this balance. The current task of the daily auction is to reposition this level, the low border of the balance. Now let's move to the hourly chart. What we have here? In the two previous contracts, we had a balance, okay? And this balance actually formed this influencer fix on the weekly time frame, okay? What happens now? In the current contract, we potentially have a balance. Here we see a fix where an institutional trader potentially closed their positions. Then what we see right now is an inertial trade. And here we also have two scenarios. The first scenario, the auction can move the price till here, and in this case we can see responsive activity, sales responsive activity, or the auction can move the price till this level, and in this case the auction can form a bias responsive activity. All right, and the task of this auction, the current task of this auction is to reposition this level, 48.82. Now 15-minute auction. What do we have here? Previously this auction, 15-minute auction, formed a reversal, but it never happened. It transferred to a volatility. And if you want to understand how it all works, I'll leave the link down below in the description with my free mastermind. It's about 1 hour long. Watch it closely. If you are interested, of course, if you are interested in what I'm talking about, if you are interested in the true market structure, go to the description and get that mastermind absolutely for free. All right, it never happened. The auction transitioned to a volatility. Currently we have two borders, a top border and a bottom border. Two borders. The two potential scenarios are the auction can move the price till this level, or it can move the price till this level. And that's actually it for the analysis. We gathered facts. That's what I always do. First of all, I gather facts. Then I gather clues through the microscope activity. By the microscope activity, I mean the 1 minute time frame. I align it with the 15-minute auction, keeping in mind everything I told you about previously. I mean all the analysis starting from the weekly time frame and finishing with the 15-minute time frame. Okay? All right. Before we move to the actual trade, let's summarize the structure. What do we have? What factors do we have for buy? First of all, on the hourly time frame, we have an institutional buy activation. If this is not a fix and this all can become just a capture volatility, this will confirm the buyer's intention. But right now, it can be just a balance. Now what weakens our factors for buy? On a weekly time frame, the buyer's responsive activity is not formed. On the daily time frame, the buyer's responsive activity is not formed. On the hourly time frame, this level, this key resistance level is 55.30 is not repositioned. Okay, now factors for sell. The main factor here is responsive activity on the daily time frame. Now what weakens selling? On the weekly time frame, the seller's responsive activity has not been formed. On the daily time frame, the key resistance level is not repositioned. On the hourly time frame, this key level is also not repositioned. We wait, we let the structure speak. All right. This is the analysis I always do before taking any decisions. Now let's take a look at the closure of the previous week. Here. We have it here. This is Thursday. On Friday the market was closed. This is why we can just analyze Thursday. What we have here is a build-up volatility. I didn't take any trades here because the day was not tradable. Okay? A built-up volatility, a very tight range, and the overnight volumes were not clearly positioned. We have a neutral closure. And taking into account the indecisiveness of the previous week, my priority for this week was variable. What does it mean? When we have a volatility like we have on the 15-minute time frame, it means the participants of the market have not decided yet what to do. It's not clear who is stronger, the buyer or the seller. I'm analyzing the current activity and making conclusions. All right. 1 minute time frame. So my prediction was, as I said, my prediction was variable. And what I needed to look for, I needed to watch the pre-market. Usually after the built-up volatility, we in like 80-90% cases, we have a very good movement on the next trading day. And here's what happened. On the pre-market, the auction itself positioned all this build up as selling volume. What do I have to do? Just sell, an early sell. And this is exactly where I took the trade. But I understood that throughout the week, this was not a point of no return. Usually what I'm looking for a point of no return. A day when the price clearly, when the auction clearly shows that we sell or buy, nothing else. But in this case, I understood that the price could easily move up to this level where we saw the last buyer's activation. And then it can bounce up again. And this is exactly what happened. This is exactly what happened. So this is the level where my take profit was. All right? This is it. Okay, let's sum it up. You don't need any indicators. You don't need magic signals. As you can see, all I have here, my charts are clean. All I have here is just one indicator, volume profile. You need to see the market for what it is, an auction with phases, with flow, with logic. And if this clicked for you, if you are starting to see it, to feel it like, yes, this is it, this is what I need to learn, then keep watching and rewatching my videos. I'm going to give you as many breakdowns of my trades as possible, all right? I'm not hiding anything. I'm giving you structure, I'm giving you clarity, and that's it. See you in the next video.